Ranking every Nintendo handheld. 23. Game & Watch. The fact you had to buy separate consoles just to play more games is a little bit annoying, and also the games themselves aren't that great. 22. Virtual Boy. I mean, at least this console has games, but it'll cost you 2 eyes and a trip to the ophthalmologist. 21. Pokemon Mini. I mean, the library is tiny, but, I mean, it's kinda cute for what it's worth. 20. Game Boy Micro. This console's a little bit hard to hold in the hands because of how tiny it is, and it broke the compatibility streak all the Game Boy consoles had. 19. Game Boy. I mean, this console's very iconic, and it's a great console, but compared to the others, it's just alright. 18. Game Boy Pocket, and 17. Game Boy Light. These consoles are very similar, however the Game Boy Light gets a slight edge because it has a backlit screen. 16. Game Boy Color. Now you can display games in color, however it doesn't have a backlit screen for some reason. 15. Game Boy Advance. This is one of the most comfortable Nintendo handhelds of all time, but it still doesn't have a backlight. 14. Nintendo DS. Honestly, this is one of the best consoles of all time, and one of the best selling of all time, but the screen is a little bit too dim for my liking, and it's a pretty bulky fella. 13. Nintendo DSi, and 12. Nintendo DSi XL. My only gripe with these consoles is that they got rid of the Game Boy Advance slot, but the camera and eShop easily make up for that. 11. Nintendo 2DS. The battery life on this console is kind of atrocious, but the game library is pretty solid, and it's very comfortable. 10. Nintendo DS Lite. This one places much higher above the others because it's comfortable, has a nice screen, and can play Game Boy Advance games alongside DS games. 9. Nintendo 3DS. It can do everything a DS can, minus the Game Boy Advance games, plus way more. However, I will admit the 3D kinda hurts and does kinda suck on the original models. 8. Nintendo 3DS XL. It's the same thing, but extra large. 7. New Nintendo 3DS. And 6. New Nintendo 3DS XL. These consoles do everything to improve the original 3DS models. It has way better 3D, better storage sizes, more buttons, and has more processing power to run games like Minecraft and Xenoblade. Those are basically the only new Nintendo 3DS exclusive games. 5. New Nintendo 2DS XL. I don't have much to say here, but despite it lacking 3D, the console itself is aesthetically pleasing, and I also love where the home button is placed on this version. 4. Game Boy Advance SP. This is almost the perfect handheld. However, it lacks a headphone jack, but the backwards compatibility on this thing is insane. 3. Nintendo Switch Lite. Again, this console is very aesthetically pleasing, however, it's kind of unnecessary, because it does defeat the Switch's entire selling point of the Joy-Cons and the dock. 2. Nintendo Switch, and 1. Nintendo Switch OLED model. Now, while many people might hate me for this, because, you know, they might say I'm a new gen, even though I'm not. I've been playing since the Wii days. This console has an amazing library, solid controllers despite the drift, and it's easily the most powerful out of all these consoles. This might even be Nintendo's magnum opus. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to follow for more.